Hello beautiful people, welcome back to another video. So today I want to talk about the differences between college and university, and also some of the assumptions that we usually have when it comes to going to college and going to the university. So first of all, before I talk about the differences, if maybe you are planning to get into college or you are already in college, don't just go there to study alone, that you just want to get all the A's and just want to be the best student. Also make sure you take this time to learn some of the tricks to be able to maneuver life after college, because you'll find that some of the students, yes, you've scored the A, but then when you get out here you find that life is kind of different and there's nothing you're doing with that A, because even getting a job is like depends on connections. And then you'll see other students who got C's building their own businesses, and then you're so confused because you're busy just studying, you forgot about learning. I don't know if you've read about this book. I think it was written by the Rich Dad. It was about A students working for C students and B students working for the government. So that is just an example of that. So yeah, let's get to the first difference. If you're new here, my name is Lesodor, and on this channel I talk about nursing. I also give advices and a little bit of vlogs here and there. So if that is something you're interested in, make sure that you consider subscribing. So I'll just start out with a little story, because most of the time the way we assume or the way we perceive these things is according to the way we've grown up knowing how things are. So this one time I went back to like the high school I was in, and we went there with a certain lady. The lady was enrolled in University of Nairobi. So when we got there, the teacher was there, was like, so which university are you guys enrolled in? And the lady was like, I'm in University of Nairobi. You know, University of Nairobi is one of the like big universities in our country. So she's like, I'm in the University of Nairobi. I can't quite remember the course that she was doing. And the teacher was just so happy. You know, the way like these people from that generation usually take someone going to the university like something so huge, like you've already made it in life. So she was like, oh my god, that is so nice, you're really going to be great, you're really going to have a nice life, you're really going to get a good job. And she was all over praising the fact that the student got into the university. And then she was like, and you, like, which university did you get to? And I'm like, no, I'm planning to go to KMTC. And she's like, KMTC? Oh, okay. And I'm like, oh, okay. So she was there, and she just like shifted the story back to the university. And she was like, when I went to the university, I don't know, I did this, now I don't know. Like, she was really praising the fact that university is the best place to be. For me, like, I wasn't disagreeing with her at all, but then I think the perception that people usually have is what makes it difficult for people from our generation to be able to do something. Because if everyone thinks going to the university is the best thing, then maybe you want to get into college, people think that maybe getting into college is so low, or maybe you won't get a job. So that perception usually affects some other students. So starting off with the differences, the first one is the level of education. So you find that for like diploma and certificates, most of the time they're offered in most colleges, although there's some colleges that also offer degree programs, but not so many, but there are also some. And then when it comes to degree and master programs, most of the time they are offered in the universities. And then the other thing is also the class size. You find that most universities, the class size is quite big. You'll find a class of even 300 students, but then this is different with colleges, because most of the time the size is usually like 50 students and below, like 40 something, 30 something. You don't find a class with 20 something students. So some students usually prefer a class with many students, and people usually prefer a class with few students. They say it is easier to understand. So yeah, at times it also depends with you. It is so intense, like you can just tell. Even the classes, you go to class morning to evening, 8 to 5, a lot of work, a lot of assignments. You go to clinicals, and when you go to clinicals, it's from morning like to evening. You are going for duties like the nurses, and it's just so intense. And then you find that for students who are in the university, at times classes, you have like 2 classes or 3 classes in a week. And then for clinicals, they usually even go after they've done the theory part of it. And even at times classes might even begin as late as even 12 noon or something. But then for colleges, it is just strictly from 8. If it is morning, everyone goes to class from the morning to the evening. So it is quite intense. And then also when it comes to the professors, like you find in the universities, not that they don't care, but they mostly use the lecture method. They just come, stand there, say what they want to say, and then just leave. When they leave, they'll give cards, they'll leave assignments. That's your own problem. People will just be in class using phones. Some people will even miss classes. Like, no one quite follows you up so much as the way lecturers follow people up in colleges. In college, the lecturer will come to class very strict, want to know who is absent, who is not there, where she missed class today. They want to know every detail about who is not in class attendance. You have done your assignments, they want to follow up every student. You've gone for clinicals, they'll follow up all that. Yeah. Now, when it comes to the assumptions, because you find some of these things, people usually take them as real differences, although some of them are false. So the first thing is that most people usually think that when you go to college, you do mostly practicals, like all the time you're always in the hospital doing practicals, and when you go to the university, most of the time you're just doing theory part. That is kind of not true, because we almost do 50-50 of that. Like for us, we just don't do practicals, we also do theory, and we do like a lot of theory. Like it's just 50-50. Like, let's say it's the first semester, half of it you do the theory, then half of it you go for clinicals. It's not that we just stay in the hospital the entire time. Even for some of the universities, if you see them going for clinicals later on the other years, it's only because they did the theory part during the first years, and then they come and do the practical part later on. So it's not that they don't do it, or the fact that maybe we do a lot of it. The other assumption that we usually have is that people say when you do a diploma, you are at a higher chance of getting a job than, I don't know, when you do a degree. So let me tell you, out here getting a job, it doesn't matter like did you do a certificate, a degree, or a diploma. Like nowadays it's about connection. I'm not saying that if you don't have connection you won't get a job, but yeah, you can get a job. Even you can, let's say you've done a certificate, you can look for that job and you'll get it. If it was meant for you, it's for you, and you'll get that job. Let's say you did a degree, if you applied for that job, they won't consider, I don't know, diploma students. The people usually say, I don't know, diploma students know how to work than degree students. If someone is interested in giving you that job, and if that job was meant for you, you'll get that job. Whether you did a certificate, you did a diploma, you did a degree. If the job was yours, if the job is not yours, there's nothing you can do about it. And then there's also this thing that people usually say, I don't know, those who are in college are not smart, those who are in the university are the ones that are smart. You know, you cannot like measure how smart someone is depending on where they are in the level of education. You know, being smart is more like how you reason, not like what content you have in your brain. Because you find like so many, like, I don't want to say rich people, but people who are great in this society who haven't achieved so like the higher level of education. So you cannot measure someone being smart by the level of education they are in. So you find that people usually compare people's smartness and the way they work depending on the level of education. So you find, especially in nursing, I remember this time another nurse was telling us that people usually prefer employing diploma nurses because they're humble, because like they don't have the pride. They say that, I don't know, they are saying that degree nurses usually have a lot of pride because they feel that, I don't know, they've gone to like the university and they need to get a higher salary. I don't know how true that is, but still, you cannot just define someone because of the majority thing you have, perception you have about the entire group. You know, people are usually different. Even when it comes to the job, you cannot say because diploma nurses go to clinicals all the time, now they're better at doing their job more than degree nurses. I'm telling you, you'll find a degree nurse who knows how to do it better than a diploma nurse. It all depends with an individual. You'll find a diploma nurse who does not know how to do the work well than a degree nurse. So you cannot compare someone depending on what they studied or the level of education they are in. Because when you go to a hospital, let me give you a scenario. When you go to a hospital, can you be able to identify someone who did a degree or someone who did a diploma? Like, I don't think it's easy to identify that, because if this person is competent at doing what they are doing, it doesn't matter which level they are in, because you find nursing is more of a skill. It's something that you learn every day repeatedly. Like, let's say you go today, you insert an IV, then after 2 days you do another one, after 3 days you do even 5, after you do even 10 of them. This does not matter the level of education you're in. This just matter the hard work you're putting in to be able to know these skills. That is all that matters. That is all that is going to take you to be able to become good at what you are doing. So you doing a degree, you doing a diploma, you doing a certificate, doesn't matter with the skills that you are offering. Like, it takes individual effort to be able to be whoever someone is. So just finishing off, so I'd like to say, don't put your self-worth depending on where you went to school. Like, we have people who have gone even to the university not because they qualify to be there, or not even because they want to be there. Maybe their parents were able to pay for them to be there to do that course. Maybe it is not even something that they like. So don't just say, you know, I did a master's, I don't know in what, and you can do all that in life, but then when you just sit with a group of people and you speak, there's nothing you're actually saying. Let me just justify this. Don't value yourself according to your level of education. And then the other thing, don't allow people to pressure you. You know, the fact that you went to the university doesn't mean, I don't know, you have to get a job immediately. I don't know, you have to like do this and this. Like, don't let people pressure you only because of the expectations of people who went to college or the university. People will just tell you, oh, you went to KMTC and you don't have a job. You know, people who went to KMTC always have a job because of this, Don't let people pressure you. Like, everyone has their own time. So I know there's a lot of pressure when it comes to different levels, like different expectations. Like, you know, when you've gone to the university, and maybe you're from your village, and maybe you're the first person to go to the university, they expect you to come back with a job. And the way nowadays it's so hard to get a job, so you can get me. So don't let all the pressure get to you, because there's gonna be a lot of it. And then another thing, just know that where you went to school does not define you. What comes after is what really matters, because someone might have gone to a big school, but then the way they handled life is quite weird. And then you might have gone to a school in the village. Have you ever seen the students who just went to school in the village and then they just come up and be like really great entrepreneurs? So that's why I'm telling you, don't let where you went to school define you. Don't be embarrassed with the school you are in. Like, just be proud of the place you are in. Even if someone asks you, don't lie, just be proud of that. I remember, like, we used to be in eras whereby when you put on your uniform, everyone is like, oh, she's going to KMTC, and you know, the kind of trauma that brings to other people who don't feel proud of going there. So don't be embarrassed with where you are right now. Just feel proud. Just know you can grow from where you are, and then take the time in the university or in the college to be able to learn. That is time to learn, time to try out. You know, most of the schools, they usually just put it that when you go to school, this is time for you to be corrected, and you're not allowed to, you know, some of the schools you're not allowed to make mistakes, and you have to be perfect, you have to get that good grade, you cannot make a mistake. But then remember, when you get out here, you realize things are different, because in life you must make mistakes for you to be able to learn. So yeah, take the time you're in the college or university for that. Make mistakes, learn new skills, be ready to like face the real world. Yeah. And also, just a motivation for someone who wants to start something. When you want to start something, just start it from where you are, from the college level. Grow whatever thing you want to start, and don't be scared. Don't be scared to make any mistakes. I know school usually makes us so afraid to make mistakes, but when you get out the outside world, you don't have to be scared. Just make the mistakes, be ready, and do your best. So bye bye.